Welcome back. Right now we're going to be talking about the mechanical category, which should be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to go through some samples and I'm going to talk about ones that are good and ones that are not so good. So let's just go right to it. Here I've got a bunch here. We're going to go to full screen. Okay, so yeah, somebody took apart their Xbox controller. That's fine. It's kind of neat, but it's, what I would like you to try and do is just kind of zero in on what you think is interesting about that photo. Because yeah, this is kind of neat that it is a neat photo. However, would like to cut away all the stuff that's non-essential. Like just zoom in on the areas that are and I'm not saying that everything has to be a close-up shot. If you're going to do a good job of controlling your environment, like say like this carpet, I find the texture of this carpet to be distracting. So like maybe if you could go with this, if like say it was on like a black background that way it wasn't competing with this, and so like this would jump out against the darker background, something like that. Or if it was like it had a blurry background and we see this, but right now I find this is distracting, and so the easiest way to get around that, and my first reaction is just to zoom in on it. But again, not everything has to be a close-up. Okay, you can just handle it different ways. Case in point, what a beautiful shot! It's very symmetrical. You got like this, and very very symmetrical, and very mechanical. It must be the inside of a clock or something, and just outstanding. So the difference between this and this, there's no comparison. Okay. And mechanical, it doesn't always have to be like gears or electronic things. It could be anything that's man-made, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in good shape. Like this is neat just because of all the rust and imperfections and stuff, as well as the paint on the cement that is now peeling. It's just all adds to the coolness of it, for lack of a better word. Okay, this one's okay. What's interesting about it is the light that's coming down, but it's all right. Boring. Okay, so if you're gonna take a picture of your clock, try and get rid of like your lunch wrapper from in behind, or the Coke can that's in behind. I find the color of the Coke can distracting, and just simplify, clear your table off a little bit. So try to just try to control your background. Like it's kind of, yeah, it is kind of a boring shot because all this is just going on. Had they simplified it and say like maybe if the table was like it was a straight line kind of going across and just kind of dividing the circle in half, and then the background was like this dark background, nothing happening, then it all would have been very like modern and minimalist looking, and that would have been kind of cool. But because they just took the picture of the clock on their kitchen table with their lunch there, it's just not nearly as appealing as what it could have been. All right, as opposed to this, that's kind of neat. I realize that maybe it's not necessarily in focus, but it's just really neat seeing all like the metal grinding stuff that's going on here, and the oil, and just a real close up. So like they got into they made this a successful shot just by zooming into what's interesting, whereas this one, yeah, you could have, but at the same time you just need to control your background. Don't do this. Okay, if your solution is taking a picture of your microwave in your kitchen for mechanical, I realize this is a very old picture. I've kept this around for a long time because it's probably one of the worst shots that I've ever received. Please don't keep yourself in the picture of the reflection in the shot, okay? Just try to angle yourself out so you're not in the shot. This might be maybe the worst photos I've ever seen because they're just so blatantly in the background. Okay, kind of a neat shot. I'm a little scared for the electrical work that's happening here, and all the cords and the webs around. Yeah, this shot frightens me. Kind of neat. They obviously, this is interesting, they are controlling their background. It's just on like a, I don't know if that's on like a white piece of paper or what. Whoops, there we go. Looks like they've zoomed in digitally. It looks like because it looks pretty low resolution. It looks like they shot it with their phone and they cut that out. That's okay. It looks like, but it does look pretty low resolution now. Okay. All right. Okay, so again, I think that the texture of the carpet is distracting away from like the cool things that are happening here. If it would have been on, say, like taking some white construction paper or some black construction paper and put that on top, and then curl the construction paper at the back so it curls up, and so like you don't see the background here, you just see the construction paper, or something, just simplifying the background. So this this is so you're actually seeing the stuff that is interesting, not being distracted. Again, this is mechanical. It could be nature, really. It's just the two kind of interacting with each other. I would allow that. It's kind of a neat shot. I purposely put this one back to back because I do like this one better. Just because this one, I just love the light on it. It just gets the real feeling of a cold morning, and because the sun is still light down, the sun it's a very low angle, so it's either morning or it's afternoon. And you just feel the coldness here. I don't know, the bad one. I'm not sure what. I think that this person just thought this was funny and thought they'd take a picture of it. Maybe they should try sharpening their blade next time. This one is, yes, this is man-made. Okay. Boring. Like, actually boring. One more time, boring. Okay, yeah, it's all right. Deciding whether or not I like this, it's okay. It's all right. It's a close-up. It's a man-made thing. It does what it wants to do. Another one. I put these two back to back. Actually, I like this one better than this one because really I find like this is kind of in your face. You're focusing in on this, which isn't really a part of the faucet that's important. Like this part's really important. This part's important, but not really the bolt in between. And so I wish that either it would have been a much nicer shot if this was in focus, kind of like this one. Okay, so actually it's this part that's in focus. But, this is a neat shot, like this shot. Beautiful shot. That's neat. And you know what's nice about this is the light. The light is coming from behind it, and which doesn't always work. But the way that this is working, because this is simple, the light is illuminating this background, and it's almost silhouetting this. If you don't know what silhouetting is, you will. That's a category that's coming up. But it means that this is dark in comparison to the background behind it, basically, and this is just basically fading off to black. This is really neat, like this shot. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of dark. All right. Yeah, don't do this. I guess it's just nothing interesting happening here. It's you're outside the Covent Garden Market and you took a picture of the building. Interesting. It's kind of neat. This would have been neat. Oh wait, this is the same building that I showed you earlier. The same guy who did it black and white, and the same moss that was on the top here. Yeah, it's kind of neat the way that the thing is decaying. I wish that they just would have focused in maybe on this area. But I already said that in the last lesson. What a cool picture. This is a cool picture. Okay, so this is an example. This is not on a, not just focusing on one thing, but because they are so all the same, it looks like a big jigsaw puzzle that you're looking at. This might be one of the coolest shots that maybe I've almost ever received. Just very intricate, very interesting photo. Very cool. And I realize that I'm big on visual hierarchy where you see like one thing first. I don't see that here just because they're all so even. It's just so many interesting things going on here and everything's in focus. It just really makes it just an interesting photo. I kind of wish that this lock was gone because it's brand new and doesn't really fit. I kind of want to see like an old rusty one in here too. What a cool, that's almost like a desktop background. That's really cool. That's one of my favorites like ever. And then you get to this. It's okay. This one's neat just because it's so symmetrical and so balanced, and somebody did this on purpose, and just really neat lights, shadows that are happening here. But they've composed this, and it's very even. It looks like it could be for like an advertisement of some sort. So very good. Make sure it's in focus. Don't hand it in if it's going to be blurry. Don't hand it in if it's going to be blurry. Don't hand it in. This is maybe one of the worst shots I've ever received. Not only is this person getting strangled by their electronic equipment, but it's blurry. It's like one of the worst shots ever. Pretty boring. Now this is cool. Again, and what's cool about this is the color. You got this really, you got this green, kind of bluey green thing that's going on here. Very simple background, and then the phone happening there. Very simple. Would have been cooler had like maybe the phone just been flush with the edge here, and then you wouldn't have got this diagonal because it's very symmetrical. But a cool shot. Again, the coolness in this shot is the imperfections, the rust, and the shadows and the warmth of the sun. That is a really neat lines happening here. You got this line happening here. This line, all these bendy lines happening here. And then it's just a shot of an engine or a starter of an engine. That's kind of neat. Yeah, it's an electronic board. Okay, I've seen that before. Now this shot here is kind of a neat shot. The flash went off on the camera. Obviously, it's inside of the piano. It is a neat shot. However, I think that one's neater because on this one you're looking at a bunch of different things. You're looking at the keys, and you got the strings and that. It is neat. However, I wish that they would have. There's just a lot going on, and I just don't know which to look at first. Unlike the locks, everything was just like a big jigsaw puzzle. But this, I just don't know what to look at first. Whereas at least when this particular shot, you really know what to look at first, and you get this really sense of line. Your eye starts here and just really kind of goes down to there. This is a nicer shot than that one. Kind of neat. I like, it's neat. The light in here is really neat. I showed you that watch one that was bad earlier, but if maybe you should just zoom in just a little bit more. No, but it was fine. Again, I got a couple of guitar shots here. I've got this one, which is fine, and this one. Now, what's neat about again, the focal area is like in the middle, which is kind of like not a very important part. Maybe if you're a guitar player, this might be an important part. But visually, I kind of want it to be either at the beginning or at the end. Whereas like this one, you're looking at right here, and then you kind of go off. But having it at the middle is kind of like, you kind of wish it's at one point or the other. I think this is the last shot. Kind of a neat mechanical shot of just a saxophone, I think it is. Lots of neat colors, lots of neat reflections, so it's pretty cool. Okay, there you go. That's your explanation of mechanical. Good luck.